Martin Buchan, Mr. Reliable. When I first started going to United, he would be centre-back, and he played virtually every game, I think, over the 10 years he was at United.
Martin Buchan is 76 years old. When you search for him now, you find a man who seems to have vanished from football entirely, living a quiet life away from the spotlight. The truth about Martin Buchan's life today is not one of sadness or loss. It is about something far more powerful. It is about a man who has lived his entire life with the same values, from his playing days to this very moment. Martin Buchan was born on March 6, 1949, in Aberdeen, Scotland. His football career started at his hometown club, Aberdeen, where he quickly showed the leadership and character that would define him. At just 20 years old, he became captain of the Dons. In 1970, in Imantui, he led Aberdeen to a 3-1 victory over Celtic in the Scottish Cup final, defeating one of the most dominant teams in Scotland at the time. The following year, 1971, Buchan was voted Scottish Player of the Year. That same year, he earned his first cap for Scotland, beginning an international career that would see him represent his country 34 times across 2 World Cups. His performances caught the eye of Manchester United manager Frank O'Farrell. In March 1972, United paid a club record fee of between £120,000 and £125,000 to bring Buchan to Old Trafford. He made his debut on March 4th, 1972, just 2 days before his 23rd birthday, in a First Division match against Tottenham. United desperately needed stability. The club was struggling after the departure of Sir Matt Busby, and the final stages of George Best's time at Old Trafford had created chaos. Buchan was expected to bring calm and authority to the defence. But what should we make of a player who stays loyal when everything falls apart? Comment below and let us know your thoughts. And if you are enjoying this story, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss more content like this. Despite Buchan's quality, Manchester United continued to decline. Just 2 years after his arrival, the unthinkable happened. At the end of the 1973-74 season, Manchester United were relegated to the second division. For a club that had won the European Cup just 6 years earlier, this felt like the end of the world. The relegation was confirmed on April 27, 1974, when results elsewhere sealed their fate. The famous moment of Denis Law scoring a backheel goal for Manchester City against United in the final home game became part of the story, but the club was already mathematically relegated before that match ended. Buchan found himself at a club in total chaos. There were managerial changes, high-profile drama, and a squad that had lost its way. Many players in his position would have immediately looked for a transfer to protect their careers and international prospects. But Buchan did not do that. He made a conscious decision to stay. Instead of complaining or feeling sorry for himself, he simply rolled his sleeves up and got to work. His goal was clear: get Manchester United back to the First Division where they belonged. His calm, disciplined approach in the middle of the storm was exactly what the club needed. He was compared to Franz Beckenbauer for his ability to bring the ball out of defence, and to Bobby Moore for his ability to read the game. His actions spoke louder than any words. This quiet commitment made him the natural choice to lead the rebuilding effort. Under manager Tommy Docherty, with Buchan anchoring the defence, Manchester United won the Second Division Championship in the 1974-75 season. They bounced back to the top flight at the first attempt. In 1975, following the departure of Willie Morgan, Buchan officially became the permanent club captain. He would hold that role for 6 years. During that time, he set the highest standards and was consistently the first name on the team sheet. The peak of his captaincy came in 1977. Buchan led Manchester United to a 2-1 victory over Liverpool in the FA Cup final. His defensive performance that day was outstanding. He successfully neutralised the threat of Kevin Keegan, one of the best players in Europe at the time. This achievement made history. Buchan became the first man to captain a side to major cup triumphs, both north of the border with Aberdeen and south of the border with Manchester United. His place in football history was secure. Buchan maintained his high level of performance through the late 1970s. He was an ever-present figure in the 1979-80 league campaign, but by the early 1980s, injuries began to catch up with him. The arrival of new manager Ron Atkinson in 1982 coincided coincided with the physical toll of years of top-level football. In the 1981-82 season, Buchan still played 36 times across all competitions, but by his final season at Old Trafford, 1982-83, he had become a bit part player, making only 6 appearances, with just 3 of those in the league. Despite serving the club for over a decade and leading them through their darkest period, Buchan did not feature in the successful, replayed 1983 FA Cup final victory over Brighton. It was an unfortunate end to a remarkable chapter. His Manchester United career ended abruptly in August 1983. Persistent injuries, particularly problems with his thigh, had finally forced him to step away. After years of remarkable consistency, his body could no longer keep up. The club granted him a testimonial match against Aberdeen in August 1983 as a fitting send-off. He joined Oldham Athletic on a free transfer that same month, hoping to continue playing, but the thigh injury would not heal. After making 28 appearances for Oldham, he was limited to just 4 games in the 1984-85 season. In October 1984, Buchan announced his full retirement from playing football. Seeking to stay in the game, he tried management. In June 1985, Buchan was appointed manager of Burnley, a club that had just been relegated to the 4th division for the first time in their history. But management was not for him. He lasted less than 4 months, resigning on October 10, 1985. He quickly realised it was not a job he was suited for. The high-stress environment of tactical decision-making and dealing with volatile situations did not align with his strengths. After briefly working as an area manager for a sportswear company, Buchan found his true calling. He joined the Professional Footballers Association in Manchester. This role would last 17 years. His background as a disciplined captain who set the highest standards made him perfect for player welfare work. As a PFA executive, Buchan became a familiar face and respected figure. His responsibilities included providing direct advice to players on sensitive matters, like contract disputes and disciplinary issues. He called his time at the Union a thoroughly enjoyable experience and said he learned how much the organisation did for the game. He observed the changing nature of football, noting the vast influx of foreign players, which he viewed positively, mentioning figures like Eric Cantona and Gianfranco Zola. But his old-school values remained. He expressed concern over the number of cheap bookings in the modern game, contrasting it with his own record of just 5 bookings and 0 send-offs in 18 years as a player. In June 2017, at the age of 68, Martin Buchan retired from the PFA. But this was not a retirement driven by a desire for leisure, it was driven by duty. Buchan stepped down to become the full-time caregiver for his wife, who had been diagnosed with advanced dementia. This decision to leave an enjoyable and respected career to fulfill a personal obligation was the ultimate expression of his character. Just as he had committed himself to the challenge of returning Manchester United to the top flight in 1974, he now stepped away from football entirely when his family needed him most. The welfare of his wife was a non-negotiable priority. In a 2020 interview, Buchan provided an update. He explained that his wife had eventually reached a stage where she required professional care beyond what he could personally provide. She was moved to a nursing home. This long period of dedicated care had occupied his life for several years. The care journey was difficult, as it is for millions of families facing dementia. Buchan handled it with the same quiet strength he showed throughout his career. He did not seek attention or sympathy. He simply did what needed to be done because it was the right thing to do. His life had come full circle in a way, from being the anchor for a struggling football club to being the anchor for his own family in their time of greatest need. At 76 years old today, Martin Buchan remains retired and lives in the Manchester area. He maintains a very low public profile. His priority remains his family. His involvement with football is now limited to watching Manchester United games on television whenever possible. He has noted that his public appearances at Old Trafford have been extremely rare in recent years due to his personal priorities. He maintains a nostalgic view of the modern game, expressing warmth for the proper football fans of the 1970s and valuing the privacy players had in his era, something he would not trade for the scrutiny modern footballers face. The pace of modern football, both on and off the pitch, is very different from the game he knew. Martin Buchan's life is not a tragedy. It is a story of integrity, from his early days as a Scottish Cup-winning captain to his time at Old Trafford, where he provided stability during a crisis, to his 17 years protecting the interests of fellow professionals, and finally to his decision to care for his wife. Every chapter has been defined by the same values: duty, commitment, quiet dignity, the same sense of responsibility that made him stay at Manchester United after relegation is the same sense of responsibility that guides his life today. He is not forgotten. He is simply focused on what matters most to him. His legacy is not just as a great footballer, but as a man of exceptional character who understood that true leadership means being there when others need you most, whether on the pitch or at home. That is where Martin Buchan is now, and that is exactly where he wants to be.